Hi, viewers. Welcome back to another segment of my show. We all are so busy in getting good education and working hard towards it that we just ignore a lot of soft skills. One of that most important soft skill is interpersonal skills. And today I'm going to talk on how to improve your interpersonal skills. This is one very important parameter that I have learned through my educational research experience, postdoctoral experience, my experience in my previous job, and I have only grown with better and stronger interpersonal skills. So let's talk it out one by one as to what can be done to improve your interpersonal skills. These skills are extremely important when you are surrounded by different people in your profession or at your workplace, when you have to convey your stuff or when you want to get your stuff done. And if you lack this kind of communicational barrier, you will, I wouldn't say you wouldn't succeed, but you will have a lot of resistance in success. So let's start with the first thing that you should think about when you want to improve your interpersonal skills. So any kind of improvement like the interpersonal skills should be done stepwise, starting with the step one. Identify the areas for improvement. So, the first step towards improving is to develop your knowledge of yourself and your weaknesses. And how do you do it? It's not just by self analysis, but it is worth seeking feedback from other people because it is easy to develop blind spots about ourselves. So, we don't want to live in a bubble in which we are thinking that we are doing all the best and it's people's limitations that you they are not understanding what you want to convey or what you want to communicate to them. So it's always better to take feedback, and this has helped me a lot in the past, in my postdoctoral experience and also in my first job, in which I was very open to taking criticism and trying to understand what is needed to make my communication or my behave my communication skills or my uh, ways I convey things better in front of people. And just remember, you cannot do it the same way you do it to your parents, friends, families, relatives, or some acquaintances. You communicate things differently with different people. You're not the same when you're talking to different people. So the tip number two is focus on your basic communication skills. So communication is way beyond just the words that come out of your mouth. So it's some would even go as far as to suggest that there is a reason why you have two ears and one mouth, because you should listen twice before you talk. So listening is an important part of communication, and do not mix listening with hearing. Listening and hearing are two different actions. One of the most important things that you can do for anyone else is to take the time to listen carefully to what they're saying, considering both their verbal and nonverbal communications. So you can use techniques like questioning and reflection that demonstrate that you're both listening and interested. When you are speaking, when you're talking, be aware of the words you use. You could be misunderstood or confused, if you, I mean, or people can get confused when you're trying to convey an issue, and that can create another issue. And it happens when some specific language in which you're trying to communicate is not your first language. So practice clarity and learn to learn to seek feedback or clarification to ensure that your message has been delivered thoroughly and people have understood the message. So by questions, by using questions effectively, you can both check others' understanding and also learn more from them. You may think that selecting your words is most important part of getting a message across, but no, it's also the non-verbal communication which actually plays a very crucial role, um, that many of us are not aware. So, some experts, what they do is what they suggest that around three quarters of the message is communicated by non-verbal signals, such as body language, tone of the voice, and the speed at which you talk. So, these non-verbal signals reinforce or contradict the message of our words and are much harder to fake than words. So, they are therefore much more reliable signals. Learning to read the body language is therefore a very significant part of communication. So, communication is speaking, listening, and understanding the non-verbal part of the entire process. Tip number three is improve your more advanced communication skills. So, at some point, you're already confident in your basic listening, verbal and nonverbal communication. You should try to go ahead and work on the more advanced areas of your communication, such as becoming more effective in how you speak or understanding how you may be having communication problems. So, what happens is problems with communication can arise for a number of reasons, such as physical barriers, like you are unable to see or hear the speaker properly, or language barriers. Another barrier is emotional barrier, such as not wanting to hear what is being said or engage with that topic, or you are not able to engage with that topic, is an emotional barrier. It's because you have a lot of things going on in your mind emotionally. Third barrier is expectations and prejudices that affect what people see and hear. So there are circumstances in which communication becomes more difficult, or there are times when you have an unpleasant conversation uh, of a variety of topic or a standard of work, and these conversations can just come up planned or unplanned. So there are several there are two issues that make these conversations very difficult, and those are emotion and change. So, what are the emotions that can get in way of communicating? It includes anger, it includes aggression or stress. So, if you are struggling to manage emotions, or sometimes even the emotions of the person in front, the best thing that can be done is to postpone that conversation until everything is at peace and is calmer. Difficult conversations are often about to need for change. Many of us find change hard to manage, especially if it is associated with an implied criticism for of existing ways of working. So make sure you are able to manage emotions and know when to change the difficult conversations. Next step is look inwards. Interpersonal skills is how you relate yourselves to others, but it's also how you relate to yourselves. People are much more likely to be drawn if you can maintain a optimistic attitude and share positive vibes. A positive attitude also translates to an improved self confidence. So, being able to remain assertive without becoming either passive or aggressive is also key to effective communication. Perhaps going beyond it, the most important overarching personal skills is developing emotional intelligence. Emotional intelligence is about understanding your own and others' emotions and their effect on behavior and attitudes. There have been five key areas identified in under emotional intelligence, which involves personal and interpersonal skills. Personal skills are working on self awareness, self regulation, and motivation, self motivation. And interpersonal skills are empathy and social skills. So it is important improving your emotional intelligence, which thereby improves your understanding, comprehending that other people have different points of views. It helps you to try to see things in the perspective what the other person is looking at that. In doing so, you may learn something that that you might you might not have seen that in that angle, and you might as well end up gaining respect and trust of others. Tip number 5 is use and practice your interpersonal skills in particular situations. Like, situations are essential when you are working in groups. Group work is a very common approach, both at home and at work, and it gives you plenty of opportunity to work on your skills. It may be helpful to understand more about group dynamics and ways of working, as these can affect how both you and others behave. Next is interpersonal skills may also be particularly helpful if you have to negotiate, persuade, and influence others. Effective negotiations, that is, where you're seeking a win win outcome rather than win lose, lose win, will pave the way to mutual respect, trust, and lasting interpersonal relations. So, being able to persuade and influence others again for mutual benefit is also a key building block towards strong interpersonal skills. Next is resolving and mediating in conflict scenarios can be a real test of interpersonal skills. Sometimes negotiations and persuasions are not enough to avoid conflict. When this happens, you need strong conflict resolution and potentially even mediation skills. So a lot of times you have to face conflict situations, and they can be an outcome of poorly handled interpersonal communications, or maybe addressed simply by listening carefully to both sides and demonstrating that you have done so. So finding a win-win situation is similarly important here, because it shows that you respect both the sides, you value the perspective of both the sides. And these skills may be thought of as advanced communication skills. However, if you're often required to manage such situations, yeah, you still need to work a lot, or you might just have to go and get a specialist training for getting you manage such situations more effectively. And finally, problem solving and decision making are usually better when they involve more than one person, and that needs a lot of effective communication and effective give and take of thoughts. Problem solving and decision making are key life skills. When I say life skills, it is so true even in your personal life, a- as much as it is important in your professional life. So while both can be done alone, they're often better off involvement of more people. This means that they also frequently involve interpersonal elements, and there's no doubt that better interpersonal skills will help with both. So it is very important to always consider the team perspective or the entire group of people involved when you are solving a problem and making a decision. The last and most important tip is reflect on your experience and improve. The final element in developing and improving your interpersonal skills is to develop the habit of self reflection. Taking time to think about conversations and interpersonal interactions helps you learn from your past mistakes and successes, and you continue to improve, you continue to develop in life. So these all tips will help you get better in your interpersonal skills, and you will be more valued and you will be more respected in the group. So trust me, I also have to learn a lot from all these tips, and I am going to promise myself that I am going to make sure to adopt these tips in my life to become a better person in the group, and that will help me climb my success ladder. So I hope these tips are also helpful to you when you're at home or at work or at your school. And I hope you keep watching my videos regularly for such useful videos. And I look forward to see you soon. Please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel if you haven't yet. Till then, goodbye. Thank you very much.